Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. It's been a bit since I've seen you. I have not been in all the winter stuff. I spent the last week down in Disney with the family. I came back Monday night, hit in the face with this like -14 wind chill. It's much different than the 70 degrees I left earlier that day. All that said, my name is Randy Lober again. If we have not had the pleasure of meeting, I am your growth marketing manager here at Action Benefits. And a part of my role, in fact, the biggest part of my role is helping all of you grow your books of business, whether that is with your core medical products, your ancillary products, or your supplemental products like dental, vision, hearing, group life, so on and so forth, which is part of today's conversation. I am pleased to welcome Devin Miller, sales executive at Beam, to talk to us a bit more about their offerings and how they can help you bring and deliver even more value to your employer groups. I would invite you all to use the chat and Q&A features as you have questions and come up. And Devin, I have no problem fielding those questions and getting them over to you as they come up, and we'll work together to make sure everyone leaves here well prepared to bring some solutions to their employer groups. All that said, Devin, when you're ready, go ahead and take us away.
Yeah, thank you, Randy. Again, Devin Miller here at Beam Benefits Sales Executive over the Michigan market. I just joined the team here in November of last year, but took over the Michigan territory as of 1/1 of this year. So I'm excited to get out and spread the word about Beam. Again, I'm local to the market. We have had sales reps. Um, Providing service to the state of Michigan, but we've never had a local presence, and I'm glad to be the first one to do that and be here on the ground, bringing the offerings from Beam out to the market. So this is an introduction slide, and this is kind of our real theme at Beam, right? We focus on small businesses. And we try to deliver, big benefits. So a lot of what we'll talk about today is about customization, providing the benefits you'd see in a larger group market down to the small group market while making it easy, making it highly customizable and easily accessible for small businesses. Let's see. Here we go. All right, just to go over some of the Beam, the offering here that we have in our ancillary suite. As you can see here, we have basically the whole shebang here: dental, vision, life, disability, accident, hospital indemnity, and critical illness. And we partner with a lot of the leading carriers, leading in the industry to provide these services. So one of the reasons why ancillary benefits are so important is when we take a look at the ancillary benefits. We all know that the medical is the big elephant in the room. It is the big piece of employee benefits. But when you talk to employees about the other ancillary benefits that they consider to be important when they're considering their overall package, this is kind of how it plays out, which I'm sure that you're all very familiar with when you talk to your customers and when you're out in the market, right? It's the laundry list here of those benefits that we offer, and then the percentages of employees that believe that these are highly valuable. So we aim to be a one-stop shop for these ancillary benefits. Again, very customizable quotes that we can do very quickly, automated underwriting. But these are not shelf rates. These are not canned rates that are just coming off the table. We do take a look at all of the information that we're given, and we underwrite based on that. We also have a lot of Ben admin integration. We have one bill for all of our products, and we have an excellent service team here. So once you do write some business with us, you'll get to experience that, and I think you'll find that we service all these lines of business very well. So here we're just taking a look at some of our members, how many brokers we have, providers. And again, a lot of this is just to ensure you that, we have a big book of business. We are backed by some incredible carriers as well. And all these numbers that you're seeing here on the right-hand side, these are old numbers. They need to be updated, but these are from years past. But just to give you an idea, this is kind of what it's looking like. And trust me, it's growing at a very rapid rate. In the bottom left here, you can see some of the carriers that we partner with that do some of the back end and the paper that we write on. So, for example, when you look at here, we have Nationwide. So, Nationwide provides the paper for our life products as well as what we call supplemental health products. So, that's going to be the accident, critical illness, hospital indemnity. VSP is a network. And the back end for our vision products, which I'm sure everyone's familiar with, is kind of the gold standard for vision. And then when we talk about disability, we are backed by the Hartford, which is a very well-known carrier. And I think the partnership works out well because typically Hartford is looking for, maybe businesses that are a little bit more upmarket. And then we can provide a lot of support in that small group space. And they give us a lot of flexibility around the offerings that we can provide. And then National Guardian Life, NGL, there is kind of the paper we write on for our dental product. And if there are any questions at any point, please jump in. Here we're just talking about some of the platforms we have. Again, this is just all about ease of use and speed to market, speed to quote. We have a quoting tool called Beam Quoting Tool or BQT that if you send a quote into Action Benefits, they're able to run the quotes for you, get everything out to you very quickly. And then once you have decided to implement, we have Beam Sign. Again, very easy, very quick. And we can, at the end of the day, we can quote, we can get the Beam Sign out to you and start getting a group implemented, within a day. And then it only takes us typically a day or two to implement once we have all the information that we need with the census and everything along those lines. And then we have our internal, and I shouldn't say internal, but our employee or employer navigation tool and management tool in Lighthouse that gives you access to your groups, the employees, everything along those lines. And then this is just going to the integration with different platforms and enrollment services that we have. Again, we have strong integration with Ease, Employee Navigator, which obviously are combining here, as well as many others. And then we have we're formalizing a roadmap to have a strong integration with coverage for companies as well that we're working on with the new partnership here with Action Benefits. And then to actually get into some of the products here that we offer. So with the dental products here, we have a very strong network. Like many other carriers, we lease 7 or 8. We lease 8 different networks, and then we stack them up, right? So if a provider doesn't fall into one network, it's very likely that it falls into the next. And we have a find a dentist tool like many other carriers do. And then some of the things about us that you'll find that maybe differentiates us from other plans. We have no waiting periods. This is on all plans. No downgrades on materials, and then coverage for missing teeth. So no missing tooth clause here with us. And then I'll say also. We don't have any restrictions around how long a business has been, doing business. So from day one of starting a business, we can start to quote and implement and administrate a group. And then with the vision, again, backed by VSP, 2-year rate guarantees on all of our plans. And then it should, I'm sure everyone is familiar with VSP and how strong the network is. And again, these are all plans underwritten by us, administered by us. And I'm not sure if there are any questions here, but all of the, all the service that you receive from VSP would be very consistent if you were to write a group with us as well. And we have a lot of, we have 6 different plans that are customizable as well, with different, frame allowances, exam, lens and frame, timelines there, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 24, whatever you're looking for. And then going to life insurance here. Um, so, we all know how life insurance works. If a member passes away, we pay a lump sum. So some of the things about us on the employer life, we go up to 50K, which we find to be pretty sufficient for most small businesses here. And then on the voluntary life, we can go up a bit higher there as well. Any EOI is very simple. I believe it's a 5 question questionnaire here for evidence of insurability, and it does have the travel assist, estate planning, ID, theft protection, and everything along those lines that you see with many carriers. And then to go to disability, again, we're partnered with the Hartford. So if you're familiar with them and the offerings that they have, um, we're offering all of that, except we're, again, very focused on the small group market. And again, able to, rate or rate the disability on groups, regardless of how long they've been in business. I mean, it's very straightforward, and we has the, an EAP program built in to it as well. And it's disability insurance. We can write 60%, 66 and 2/3, and then regardless of date of when you want the it to start, as far as the disability benefit, we can work with that as well. So a lot of, again, customization, and again, we're able to write a lot of small businesses here. And then when we talk about, again, we call them a supplemental health product. So this is the accident, hospital indemnity, and critical illness. All these are going to be, guaranteed GI, um, and again, all lump sum payments that go directly to the members. So our accident product here, the way it works is we do not have a fee schedule. Basically, and some carriers do it differently, but the way we do it is once a member goes in with an accident claim, they send us the EOB and we pay whatever they are asked, whatever is on the EOB, regardless of anything paid out by an insurance company. So we're paying pre-adjustment from insurance payment out to the members. And again, it's a direct lump sum, and they can be used for medical expenses or anything else, whatever the member decides, would be best to suit them. Hospital indemnity, again, another well-known simple product. If you're in the hospital, you can receive up to $500 a day in a lump sum, 1,000 for a day in the ICU. It's a pretty straightforward plan. And then critical illness. So again, many carriers offer this, and then if you have one of these, critical illnesses, we'll pay up to $5,000 if it's a group with three to nine eligible employees, and then up to 10,000 for groups that have 10 to 100 employees. And then a lot of carriers, what they do is they make these big lists of conditions that they'll pay out, right? They'll have 20, 30, 40 conditions. We only have 5. So it's heart attack, stroke, organ failure, renal disease, and intrusive or invasive cancer. So what we find is that 98% of all critical illness claims are in these 5 categories. So I know other carriers might have big laundry lists, but in reality, a lot of that doesn't add very much value. And then are there any questions? I know I'm kind of going through this quick.
Yeah, there's a few I've seen come in regarding dental and vision if you are
Yeah.
able to talk to them.
Yeah.
First one has to do with dental in particular. Uh, they had a question about contribution models. Is it available voluntary, non-voluntary, contributory? How does that work and what participation requirements might there be?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, servicing a small business, we understand that voluntary benefits are, extremely important. So everything that we're talking about here, it can be, 100% fully insured or 100% contribution rate from the employer. It can be 100% voluntary, and then it can be contributory. And when we underwrite, honestly, that's one of the strongest things or best things for us to know is what that looks like, um, with regards to how we end up rating groups. So, when you send in an RFP, including that information is incredible. And then we will get to the participation rates, and I think what you'll find is we have some of the most lax participation rates that you will find in the industry.
Good to know. Thank you. The other question come in, and you've talked about it a few times, and this might be an appropriate conversation for later, but I know there's some off-the-shelf dental products, right, that are, because I played around in the quoting platform, but there's also some folks asking about what does customization look like? So, what are some of those things that they can customize when they're building out benefits? I think would be something helpful for folks to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think a lot of it would be around, like we can move around different, periodontic, endodontic services. What category do you want to have them in? Do you want a major, basic? If you look at oral surgery, do you want to have that in, again, in major, basic? We can kind of play with what that looks like. We have high annual maximums, up to 5,000 or up to $5,000. The ortho, we can do children, adult. Um, but I think a lot of it is just being able to move around where some of those services fall as far as how they're covered, and what percentage they're covered at, regardless of group size.
Yeah, and the other thing I really appreciate, as I played around with quoting some of these, is the ability to choose how out-of-network claims are handled, right? Whether they're going to be UCR, usual and customary rates, or whether you'll use the maximum allowable charge. That really does help build in some more price control on the carrier side, but also means some rate control too when you are quoting the groups as well. So there's a lot of levers that you as the broker have to pull when delivering a solution for your groups and building a few options. Um, I say that all in response to a question saying, can we have a copy of the menu? And really, I don't know if it's easy to give a copy of the menu, so to speak, because there are so many levers you can pull within a plan. There's no one plan or set of plans. Is that accurate, Devin?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Um, yeah, again, there's not going to be a menu. It would be hard to put all the different arrangements that you could have into single options, or into, on paper, really, because there are so many different levers you can pull. And we can do things like, we can have, an active plan there where, hey, we have some preferred networks that we find are the most affordable, and have those pay at that 180, 50, and then and the maybe some of the networks that we find to be a little bit more pricey, have the 80, 50, 50, or 80, 50, 40, however you want to do it with regards to those percentages. And then, like you said, we can do a MAC plan, which we see a lot of times with some of our competitors. Delta commonly has MAC plans, but we can have, if members are in a rural area and they're not looking to have, be balanced build, maybe at the same rate, and maybe there's not as many providers around. We can do those, like you said, the UCRs, up to 95%, where we're paying substantial amount for providers.
You mentioned networks, and that ties into another question that came in. When a member gets an ID card, what is shown on the ID card? How do they know what networks they have access to on the dental side? And I assume on the vision side, it's just VSP. But particularly on the dental side, what does that look like? How does a member know where they can access care?
Yeah, so we do have the Find a Dentist tool, and then what it looks like is it just looks like a Beam card, and we have we have an online app for it as well. We can look into different providers in the area, but yeah, the Find a Tool app is a great way, or website there is a great way to do it as well. And then calling, asking a member to call a provider and ask if, if they accept Beam is always a tough one because I think sometimes it creates confusion because, maybe a provider unfortunately hasn't heard like the name Beam, but if they actually go in and they put the insurance in, then the provider will be able to see if they're in or out of the network as well. So there are a couple of different things there, and I've run into that before where someone calls a provider. And the person at the front desk is like, I don't know about Beam, but a lot of it, some of the more familiar networks that we have in our stack would be, Dynamax is in there. We have what would be United Healthcare's dental network as well. Carrington, there's a handful in there that are I think are pretty familiar to most people.
Okay. Um, but those specific networks aren't necessarily called out on the card. It's really more looking at, the Find a Dentist tool and saying, this dentist participates with these sorts of networks, and that's how I would find whether or not my dentist accepts Beam if they haven't heard of them. Would that be fair to say?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that I
Okay.
would think so. And also we can do comparisons of the network. If they're moving from one carrier to the other. And again, we have a comparison tool that we can give you an idea of what that looks like in a geographic space, how many providers there are, um, in comparison to whatever carrier they're moving from.
Great. I think that handles most of what we have coming in that have come in via questions. There's a few underwriting questions I'm sure that you'll get to a bit later as you talked later on, but if not, we'll attend to those soon as well.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Uh, so I'm gonna move on here. Okay, here we go to get to some of those participation rates that we were talking about. And again, we write a lot of voluntary benefits. Again, catering to the small group market, we have a lot of voluntary um, groups out there. So here's what we're looking at with regards to the participation rates at the bottom. Dental and vision, uh, two employees, two eligible employees, basic life, two unrelated lives, voluntary life for 3 to 9 uh, employees. We're looking for three, and then once it gets to 10, we're looking for five. Or once it gets to 10, eligible employees, then we're looking for five to enroll. Disability, two unrelated lives, and then accident, hospital, indemnity, and critical illness are in the same vein as that voluntary life. We're looking for 3 to 9 eligible employees. We're looking for three, and then once it gets to 10 to 100, we're looking for five. And then with the dental and vision, basic life, and disability, regardless of group size, we're just looking for two. Um, and I think that those are probably some pretty relaxed numbers in comparison to the market. In many cases, people, once you get to a certain size, carriers are looking for a percentage, and we're not doing any of that.
Yep, that covers the underwriting questions we had, is in terms of percentages and so on and so forth. So, good. That gives people a lot of freedom in terms of what products they might be able to select.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, and this is just talking about the supplemental health products that we talked about, again, the accident, critical illness, and hospital indemnity. Um, and then just kind of, just talking about the value of them and how they complement the health insurance. We know that in many cases, if something comes up, you're going to be paying out of pocket. And these can really, again, kind of cover anything that, um, any copays or deductibles or coinsurance, as well as cover anything else that the member sees fit, right? These are paying directly to the members and allowing them to decide what's most important at the time, right? If you can't work and you need to, pay some bills, maybe that's the best use for it. And then here we're just talking about the affordability of a lot of these lines. Again, these can be either again employer paid or voluntary, and the underwriting is incredible. And I think that you'll see that once you begin to quote here. And then this is just talking about starting getting a quote, talking about our quoting tool. If you'd like to, again, try it or kind of get started here, um, we certainly can do that. And that's all really for our presentation here. Are there any other questions? And if anyone has any groups that come to mind, obviously send them to Action or Robert, or whoever you work with at Action Benefits.
Yep, your account managers called Colleen and or Paula will be great fits to help you start that quoting process, or really anyone on the group team could help you do that. I can run your quote if you want to as well. We're all in the same boat here, and all trying to help you expand and enhance your employee benefits practice. So find anyone you like, and we'll help you get it done. That being said, one thing that comes to mind, back a slide, you mentioned the affordability of voluntary benefits. And while that core medical product is everyone's kind of bread and butter, it's the big elephant in the room. It's no secret that core medical is getting more and more expensive, especially as you're thinking of your groups of 2, 3, 4, and 5, or whatever the case might be. They're still probably looking for a way to compete, right? To attract and retain talent. Being able to offer, benefits on a voluntary basis gives gives the employees rather access to group rates that they might not be able to access on their own, right? I'll bet you all the change in my pocket against all the change in yours that, dental, through a group plan from Beam is cheaper than going out on your own, right? And finding a dental plan. So if your employers, for whatever reason, aren't in a spot, whether it's a prospect or an existing employer that maybe can't stomach, offering, that core medical benefit any longer, voluntary benefits can be a great solution for them, can be a great way to keep their talent and offer something, right? Which is better than Joe down the street who's not offering anything to keep his or her employees as well. So don't underestimate these as a opportunity to get a foot in the door with a group or to keep your foot in the door with a group that is looking for options.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. I completely agree. I mean, um, like you said, if you're prospecting for new business to your agency, sometimes these are great foots in the, great places to start and get a foot in the door.
Yeah, I do have one comment. One of our co-brokers, Alicia, does have Beam through her husband's employer, and on the back of the card, it does show the dental networks that they're eligible for. So that makes finding a dentist even easier when you're going to reach out to them.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your help. Again, I'm new here, and I've been just using the virtual one and haven't taken a good look at it. My dentist just said, "Hey, what's the group number and the member number?" and threw it in there. So I appreciate the assist.
Thank you. That said, we are happy to take any other questions that our folks online might have here. I think we've gotten to everything we have in the queue here at the moment. But while we're waiting for them to say anything, Devin, is there anything else you'd like our folks to know before we part ways for the morning?
No, just that, I've been in this industry for 8 years, and I'm sure many of you have been in it longer. I'm just really excited about what Beam is doing here, and again, some of these partnerships that we have are new. Specifically, some of the life, disability, accident, critical illness, hospital indemnity. And I think what you'll find is we're going to be the most innovative carrier in, moving forward. And I mean that by saying that you will see rapid innovation coming out of Beam. So the next time you hear from us, there's probably going to be something new, right? Some of these lines of coverage, we've been doing dental for 8 years. We've been doing vision for 5. We've been doing the other ones for a year and a half. So we're always evolving. We want feedback from the market. Our leadership is extremely, how do I want to say? They are very open to feedback, making changes, building roadmaps to make our products better and fit our market when they hear, feedback from the market. It's not going to be the same message every time you hear from us. You're going to see a lot of innovation moving forward, and we have a lot on our roadmap coming this year and moving forward.
Thank you. We do have a question coming in from Alicia, actually asking how she gets access to that quoting tool. Alicia, I'll have your account manager here at Action Benefits reach out to you to help with that, and we'll even help you run that first quote with you just to make sure that everything goes smoothly and you can see what's all available to you. So thanks. You're welcome. That said, shoot, I had one more thing that came to mind, and then I started answering the question. And that thing that came to mind was must not have been that important. But when it comes back to mind, I'll be sure to all let you know. That said, I thank you all for your time and attention here today. Thank you, Devin, for joining us here today as well and introducing us all to Beam. A lot for us to get to know, a lot for us all to wrap our arms around it, and we're excited for the partnership and happy to work with you here.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the partnership. If you have any questions, feel free to send them over to, like you said, to Action and myself, and we'll work together to get any answers out to you. And if you're working on anything right now, we'd appreciate the opportunity to take a look at it and get you started, with Beam.
Right. Well, thank you again to all of our audience members for joining us and taking the time out to learn with us. Thank you, Devin, for being here. On behalf of everyone here at Action, thank you again for spending time with us, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thank you.